Good morning. This is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV, brought to you by the Center for Constitutional Governance. I am Isaac Wagala, your host. Today, we discuss a rather controversial subject, political patronage. Is political patronage taking shape and getting entrenched more by the day in Ugandan politics? Well, today we interrogate this topic. Also, much later on the program, we discuss the continued relevance, if any, of donations in the budget. I am joined by a panel of distinguished people who I now have the pleasure and honor to introduce to you viewers. Starting from my extreme right is Honorable Derek Nyeko, the Member of Parliament representing Machindia East constituency and also a member of the National Unity Platform. Honorable, you're most welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, my brother Isaac. A very good morning, viewers. Like you mentioned, I'm truly a people's representative. I come from the National Unity Platform, and I'm a very people-centered person, very humble and quite honest when it comes to the politics of the country.
Thank you, Honorable, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for hosting me, Isaac.
Next to Honorable is Miss Barbara Piloya Nyeko. Interestingly, she's namesakes with the Honorable Nyeko. I don't know if she will explain it further, but Barbara, you're most welcome to the program. Barbara is a lawyer by training. Barbara, say hello to the viewers.
A good morning to the viewers out there. Just like our host has said, my name is Piloya Nyeko, and maybe Nyeko will explain, Honorable will explain further why we have shared that name, but look forward to sharing more. I am an honest servant, and I love service. My other name is a servant leader.
Thank you for joining us, Barbara. And just right next to me is Mr. Apollo Tusime. Apollo Tusime is the General Secretary of the Uganda Parliamentary Association. You're most welcome to the program, Mr. Apollo.
Thank you, Isaac, and it's a pleasure again coming to Civic Space TV. We appreciate the opportunity. I bring greetings from Uganda Parliamentary Press Association. As a disclaimer, we are not employees of Parliament, but we are journalists accredited to cover parliamentary proceedings on a daily basis. So we are not employees, or I hope I may not be answering questions of whether I am part of the whole discussion about the money heist in Parliament. We work for private media houses, but we are accredited to cover parliamentary proceedings. It's a pleasure having me on the show this morning.
Thank you. It's important to clarify. Let me start with you, Honorable. You've cited the virtue of honesty in your introductory remarks, emphasizing the importance of honest leadership. So I want to begin by asking the question, have you partaken of the 40 million or the recently 100 million cash bonanza that is, being propagated on social media?
Well, some of the very good reasons I decided to join the struggle of the people is because I have hate for the corrupt, because I feel for the sick that are in the hospitals, and because I feel for those children where we come from that cannot access education. And I personally did not take part of these bonanzas. The last year bonanza that was clearly brought out by our president, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, to the public, the 40 million that was soon to be given to members of parliament, and later that turned out it was true. And the 100 million bonanza that is all over social media claims of the members of parliament who have gotten this money. You see, the walls of silence may not provide you with evidence that people have got because of the power around it. But trust us, the taxpayers' money is being misused by the people we expect, they expect, to be accountable and to properly allocate it. for the benefit of the common people. And claims may be true, because last year you saw Kagabo, who came out openly before confessing and getting this money to the office of the speaker. But in our internal meetings, we had as well other members that confessed to have got this money. So it is true that corruption is in the middle and the center of Parliament. And we call upon the public to get more interested in getting to know the affairs of how the people that are made to manage their resources and allocate it are behaving in their offices.
As a follow-up question regarding the topic of discussion for this program, political patronage, what is your understanding of it, Honorable? And is it true that this vice, which increasingly has got entrenched into our political fabric as a country, is also prevalent in your own political party, especially now that allegations, which we've seen some people substantiate again on social media, that your own representative and your former commissioner on the Parliamentary Commission, the Right Honorable Matthias Mpunga, who is also the immediate former leader of the opposition, partook of allegedly proceeds of corruption. What can you say about the topic? Paint for us an impression.
Well, as me as an individual, I must say I'm very bitter with what the Right Honorable Mpuga got involved in. As the leader of opposition, you're sent into the commission to represent our views, our core values, our principles. And knowing the surroundings of Parliament and the ruling government on their stand on corruption, we expected the Right Honorable Mpuga to go by our values. Just as the commission is comprised of 3 members from the ruling government and 1 from the opposition. So we expect our members to stand by our values to represent us. As the NUP, I'm very proud of the decisions that we made, because if we are to look more different than all these other parties that feel it's okay for their members to go and misuse their offices, to go and get involved in bribes and corruption, and they will be rewarded with positions. Well, for us, we find it different, because we feel the country is at the moment where it needs leaders that can take steps, that can act every time there are such circumstances of breaking the law. Because if we are to have a well-organized society, then we need to come up and respect the laws and the principles of that particular entity. As the NUP, I want to clear out a few things that have been running on air. We have organs within the party that sit down. We have committees, disciplinary committees that sit down. We have leadership code as members of the NUP, what we are expected to do out there, and what do we represent? Do we represent it by just speaking eloquent about the issues, or do we personally represent those values out there? So as the party, we believe we have taken the right steps towards corruption, and we believe we are achieving, because the response from the public is now differentiating who is the true leader, who is the servant leader, who can act when it comes to issues of dishonesty. Well, I believe we are a more honest party than all these others, because others may want not to share their shame, claiming one of their top leaders has been involved in such a scandal. But now we have a huger question of Parliament, how it's running, how the Speaker runs her office, how the commissioners are allocating money unto themselves, how individuals in Parliament are receiving over 400 billion on a personal account. We have questions of accountability that the world today is questioning. And as a party, we stand firm and say, you know, we are zero tolerant to corruption. Let it be the topmost leader of our party. Once we get to know he or she is involved in any kind of corruption, we shall take a step. I'm very proud with the decision made by my party, and I'm very contented. At the very first place, I left the NRM, like I told you, because of corruption. And personally, I would leave the NUP if at all they did not act, having evidence that one of our leaders was involved in corruption. I would be out the next day. But because they are the values at which we stand for, I feel very much contented. And it's just very wrong for individuals to allege once one is corrupt, then they will start coming up with what better word should I use? They will, you have stolen something, and one would come out and say, because I am a Catholic, because I come from this clan, then it's homosexuality. These are homosexuals coming after me. Madam Speaker, taxpayers' money is being sent on individual accounts, and the world is asking, can you account for that money? Can you account to the awards, service awards that you are awarding to yourselves? These are not homosexualities. You're running out to the whole people concerned, all Ugandans on these social media spaces that are concerned, and branding them to be homosexual, branding them to be tribalistic, dragging them to be, not to cover yourself in a manner of not giving answers and accountable. And just this week, you have seen how the Speaker has handled issues on the floor when we asked her on issues concerning what's happening in her office. If these allegations are not true, why would you come out and say, I'm going to give you members a platform so that we discuss this? In a minute, you send the House, you adjourn the House to 28th. You're operating in a mafia style of leadership. It brings up suspicions that things are wrong. Ugandans out there must know things are wrong in this country. It's a bunch of thieves everywhere. Things are very much wrong. When they come out openly and start acting in such a manner, then if there is a way we would dissolve all institutions in this country, I would be fully in support of that.
P-lawyer,
Yes.
is that the correct pronunciation?
Yes.
P-lawyer. Oh, okay. So, Honorable Nyeko asserts rather emphatically that the levels of corruption in the country warrant that we totally dissolve the institutions that comprise the state. I don't know where it would leave him since he's a member of parliament himself, but let me ask you to tell us, what's your understanding of political patronage? Is it an extension of corruption in itself, or it's a facet of corruption?
Well, first of all, I want to appreciate Honorable Nyeko for his deliberation. I would start from quoting my late mentor, the late Right Honorable Speaker, Jacob Olanya, who in one of the speech about corruption said, he posed the question to the president, Mr. President, who are the corrupt? The corrupt is me, myself, Nyeko. It's not the institution. The corrupt, I believe, are the individuals that are within, trying to probably work outside the institutions or the guidelines or the principles of institutions. We can't go ahead to dissolve an institution that has existed or that has probably laws that have been set by people that are right-minded to guide the decisions of this country or take this decision further. So thinking that we should dissolve an institution is rather disastrous. But I think it's a question of, before one takes up a mantle, before you come up or present yourself for a position or even go that far, it's actually a question of leadership. A question of leadership and a question of your shield. I'll ask a question, who is your shield? The patronage. Who is behind you? If I am going to do something and there is a backup somewhere, yes, the guidelines are very set and they're very clear, but there is someone who is going to back me up. That even if I do this, I cannot get outside the docket. I'm not going to mention individuals here, but I want us to understand the context of patronage. That it is sort of like you are going to be awarded for something that you are doing. That motivates me to even go as far as taking in a bribe that will lead me to a position I want to be. For example, I want to contest in a district, and probably by chance I get to go through at my age. I host an incumbent. Now, when I get to parliament, because of the need to rise up and rise up to a certain step, I will incline to pressure and end up, going against principles that are set within institutions. So I think I want to say that institutions shouldn't be done away with, but rather individuals should look through themselves and do things right in a rightful way. Still, I'll pose the question, who are the corrupt? And at what stage does corruption emerge? It starts from when you are presenting yourself for anything, any duty, any role, or when you start to walk or start to get to a journey, you should look through yourself. That what are the values, what are the principles that you stand for? I'm proud when you say that that I would quit my political party if they did not go ahead to react to the situation that was in that at hand, because he believes that his value system is very strong, and his principles, he holds onto his principles. So it's a question of individual, and it's not a question of an institution. If an institution has been set and the guidelines are very clear, then we need to just do that. I think, you can't do away with an institution.
Mr. Opolo, I want to pose the question to you. As a journalist that has been closely associated with the proceedings and workings of Parliament for a prolonged period of time, have you, in your discharge of your duties, obtained any evidence of patronage in Parliament?
Well,
what can you tell the viewers about the political patronage in the country?
Oh yes. Well, I think I will start with also another disclaimer that the views I will express here may not necessarily be the views of Uganda Parliamentary Press Association, because we are professional journalists who cover Parliament, and it would not look proper when we look as if we are attacking an institution that where we work or where we. But these are, I think you invited
your
me
personal
as,
views,
yes, as a person who has been in Parliament for a very good time, and who has experience in the goings on in Parliament. And to answer your question, I think it is good we look at the issue of political patronage not only in Parliament, but we broaden it, because Parliament is part of a bigger society. It's one arm of government. It works alongside another arm, the executive, and also the judiciary. So I think it would be proper we look at the issue of political patronage holistically. But political patronage, if I'm to quickly break it down into an understandable context, it is using your influence to either award, give jobs or give privileges some people in hope that you will also benefit in return. So if you ask me if patronage is real in this country, I would say a big yes. It is true. It is real, and the evidence is overwhelming. We have witnessed incidents where individual politicians who have been awarded or rewarded just because they tabled certain motions in Parliament, and we have cases that are not secret. We know how some ministers got their jobs because they tabled motions either to remove term limits or to remove the age limit in our constitution. So to answer you, Isaac, political patronage in this country is real. Maybe my concern is that political patronage in Uganda is official in one way or another. And I will bring you...
to say it has been normalized?
No. I will bring you to the fact that our constitution, the 1995 Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, somehow facilitates patronage. If you look at the powers that are given to the president in our constitution, it facilitates a system of patronage. If you have a president who appoints the Electoral Commission, a commission that organizes elections in a country, then somehow you expect that he will appoint people who he believes that somehow they will facilitate his next term, his next term in office. If you have a president in the constitution who appoints all officials who head agencies and departments, the permanent secretaries, the IGG, if you have a president who has powers to appoint all those big officials, somehow you agree that he will appoint people who possibly will help him along the way to move and keep his power. Yes, we can say these people are nominated by the president and they go through parliament, but then if you look back at the powers the president has, the president also has powers to influence what is happening in parliament to some level. So my concern is that our constitution somehow, somewhere facilitates this political patronage, and the bad thing about it is that every time we have had an opportunity to amend the constitution, these provisions that would somehow chew up this issue of political patronage have been ignored and have not brought to the attention of the people to debate them and to possibly amend them. And for instance, Isaac and Honorable and others here and others out there who are watching, look at our neighbors in Kenya. The president does not directly appoint the electoral commission in Kenya. There is a select committee that he appoints, and then it has the mandate to vet the commissioners sit on the is it the independent electoral boundaries commission. Yes, but it is not the case here. In Kenya, even the IGP, the Inspector General of Police, is not appointed directly by the president. Well, it's the whole thing, and it's where we find ourselves in, only that it is also in our mandate to make sure that we correct this whole issue. But political patronage is real, and my concern is that it is backed up by some provisions in the Constitution.
Let us...
Actually, to add on, the other issue about our Constitution is also a situation where it provides for winner takes all. Every time we go for an election, a general election, the person who emerges as the president takes all. There is nothing left for the other group, for his rivals. So somehow the powers of the presidency must be tamed, must be trimmed, and that is possibly how we can start on the road to manage political patronage.
Honorable Nyeko, Apollo raises rather strong concerns regarding the fundamental weakness of the law, especially the Constitution, in that, in a sense, it also facilitates the entrenchment of political patronage in the country. So as I even ask my question, I want you to respond to that because you are the lawmaker here. But my direct question is, on social media, large sections of the public have come out to also denounce, the workings of your party by saying that the way the leadership is structured in a way that facilitates political patronage. A case in point is the allegation that the party leadership appoints relations, their blood relations, into very high and sensitive positions in the leader of the opposition's office in parliament. Then there are certain relations that are appointed internally in the party structures, and these allegations have been given some sort of credence by the response the Right Honorable Matthias Impunga released, pegging the core reason for his condemnation on what he termed as small family interests. What have you got to respond to that, even as you respond to his concern about the fundamental weakness in the Constitution?
Well, when I mentioned that we need to dissolve literally the institutions of literally every institution in Uganda, I did not limit to the fact that we need to sit down and revise our constitution as a country. That gives so much power to the president, that gives so much power to the executive, to the speaker of parliament, where we expect that the views and literally even of the minority would be captured. We would expect the power that is given to the security agencies in our constitution that cannot be tamed, whereby literally parliament does not even have any role in the appointment of the UPDF, CDF, and yet is supposed to be accountable to the people. So there are so many things that we need to come up and revise in a country, though in such a timing when the majority of the people or the legislators are on the other side, they would always choose things that would be in favor of them. In such a timing where most of the educated and the elite that we would be trusting are behaving in such a manner that is clearly presented today, then literally we need to first sit down as a country and have a honest conversation on how we want the rule of law to take precedence in our country, of how we want to govern our country when it comes to the laws that we are going to make. Trust me, today we do not have that space. I totally agree with so many people that think all these institutions are captured. All these institutions are captured. I am telling you because I am a member of parliament. This, what I'm sharing with you,
So
it can even put me in trouble. He knows. I may be even called for disciplinary action, because literally people think just because we are part of parliament, then we need to defend individuals who have committed crime. Just because now we would be defending an institution that we are part of. No, we do not represent the ugly side of what they are committing. We represent a people-centered parliament. Like, we came out clearly to state the vision in 2021 as we were making our oath. And like she said, the late Right Honorable Speaker Olanya was clear on our visions, on our missions in this term. And probably people thought, it is going to be very much more clear. And now that we have a sober speaker, probably things would be in line with the rule of law. I must say, what was the other question?
The other question, the first question was a response to him.
And I hope I've responded to.
I hope you're satisfied,
Yes.
Mr. Pro. Then the second question is to do with the inability of your own party to deal with the problem of political patronage.
Like I told you.
Citing the specific example of appointing filial relations in positions of
Like I told you.
responsibility both in the party but also in parliament.
We need to give to the live examples of the current affairs taking on and the basis and the root of why these claims have come up. Like me as a person, I would say I've not seen a party that runs in an open space like the NUP. We have literally come out to explain ourselves on these allegations. If other parties would do the same on allegations concerning their commissioners, it would be perfect for this country. If they decide to stay silent, then they are not doing a move to curb corruption. But as well, like I said, the NUP is a body governed by the values and principles that bring us together. We have the NEC in our leadership, and we do not see brothers and sisters of Kyagulanyi in the NEC. But my brothers could be supporters of the NUP. I have a little brother of mine. He could be a supporter of Nyeko Derrick.
You don't
and
have
every time
one by the name of Chairman Nyazi? He
No,
doesn't comprise the name?
but does it disqualify him from having any position in the party? But if we only have Chairman Nyazi, does it mean that David Lewis is a brother to the Honorable Kyagulanyi? Does it mean that our spokesperson Joel Sonyonyi is a brother to Kyagulanyi? Does it mean that Waiswa Mufumbiro, who comes from Busoga, he is a brother to the Honorable Kyagulanyi? Then there are questions. You see, if they're shooting at the corrupt, they will find ways of fighting back. And their fighting back is by making false allegations to divert the real cause as to why people are demanding for all these accountability questions. NUP, trust me, I would not be Nyeko. I would not have a position in the NUP. And probably, I think, if it was run in that way as they are assuming, I would not be in this position. To be sincere, we had a vetting committee that vetted members of parliament and all these other leaders. They would be tribalistic and they would claim maybe one of Nyanzi's brothers would come and contest in Kampala, since the NUP is highly, so many people in Kampala believe in the ideology and the manner at which we handle issues in Kampala, and they would love us for that. But as well, the Right Honorable Mpuga was part of the leadership. He's our deputy president. And not until allegations of corruption have come up, then he starts coming out to say that, this is more of a family affair, something, diverting. Same thing the speaker yesterday mentioned on the floor, that, I'm being chased because these are homosexuals coming after me. So we are narrowing up the conversation today, limiting ourselves to address the real cause. And now that people need to come up and honestly come up and clear up on these allegations to the public, did you eat or not? Were you part of this corruption scandal that is ongoing or not? In such a timing, when there were massacres in Masaka, Bijambia massacres in Masaka, a leader from Masaka was in a meeting in a commission in parliament, awarding himself, after serving 6 months, an award of service. How can you even divert the nation? What are you going to pretend when you're addressing the people of Masaka? What are you going to feed the people of Masaka in such a time? Imagine, in such a time when people were transporting their mothers and fathers away from Masaka, the villages, to town. A leader from the opposition with our ideology, one who is sent in, and now you come out and claim that the NUP is run in a way of a small family clique. So it is very wrong for them, and I do not see that happening. Neither do I see it in our meetings. We have a parliamentary commission as the NUP. We normally have many of these discussions as a party. We attend the NEC meetings on several occasions. You have seen us come up after NEC meetings and sharing to the country of what we have discussed about and our resolutions. But at the same time, the allegations they are making of the 200 million given to members of parliament, and they decided to get 10 million. We were in a crisis just after elections. And this proposal came from members in a NEC meeting of the NUP, where we individuals came up and suggested, now we need to bring up a pool of finances. We have foot soldiers, we have our supporters in jail. They need legal services. but they have families they left behind. Their children have to go to school. They need to get medical education. But these people were part of our struggle. Now that we have such positions and now we are privileged to have something financially stable, then we need to give back to the party for it to be in position to support the legal aid being given to these colleagues of ours that are in prison. Then we need to be in position to make sure we send them something to eat, we cater for their families, and all these other things that would enable us have a stable party. So it is very wrong for a person of Bedi Wanika to come out and claim that Kyagulanyi Ssentamu ordered them or directly took the money from their accounts. It is very wrong for them. They are not being honest. It was a resolution that many of us agreed upon. I personally brought it up when we were in Jinja, that, now that we are in a crisis and we are being given 100 million, it is true we need to discuss, because as a member of parliament, I will have to move to the north, I will have to move to the east, I will have to move to the, and these are things that have been set clear. As a member of parliament, these are your privileges that would enable you do your work. But now we are talking honestly as a party. We need to get 10 million from each so that we facilitate and make up a pool. But we also subscribe to a monthly pay. And no one forced anyone to subscribe to this monthly pay. The NRM, I hear they give 150. That is how small, and that is, I do not know, that is how much they love their party.
How much do you remit to the party?
1 million.
1
million. And we are very fine with it. Because currently today, we have an institution built. We go for NEC meetings and they account how they are spending our money.
Thank you.
So it is very wrong for...
I'm going to ask that you hold on your point.
All right.
Focus on Parliament now takes a short break. When we return, after the break, we discuss the issue of donations in the budget.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back. This is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV. In this segment, we discuss the sticky issue of donations in the national budget. Honorable, I'm going to start with you again. For the primary reason that you are the lawmaker of this set. So, in the exhibition, we've seen people challenge the concept of donations. Is it that Parliament is really making budgetary allocations for these donations? And if so, firstly, what is the rationale behind it? Because we understand there is no robust legal framework to underpin these donations. It is a matter of discretion for the supposed recipients of the donations to spend how and, whichever way they deem to spend them. But also thirdly, what is the accountability framework in place to ensure value for money of the taxpayer?
Well, I must be clear on this. Not every member of parliament is privileged to have information of what happens in the commission, and neither do they have information of what the speaker does. It is the commission, like I told you, why we feel very why we see things in a way that we are very disappointed in our leader, it is because we expected him to be of value on our principles. Well, so much of this information we do not have on how the speaker has been donating and where the money has been going. But the Auditor General,
don't you pass that money in Parliament?
We do pass collectively money that operates Parliament, but we do not go ahead to allocate money that goes to Parliament. That is the commission that is in charge of...
it's part of the Parliamentary Commission's budget.
Exactly.
Okay.
To allocate money to members of Parliament, to allocate money to the workers, to welfare, and all that, to enable Parliament operate. So it is the work of the commission. Though I strongly believe that donations harm this nation. The donations, because literally we would be empowering institutions to perform. Why would you donate to a hospital? Yet you can allocate resources to enable that hospital have enough doctors. Why would you allocate to a baby's home? Why would you donate? Yet you have the power to probably build up a baby's home somewhere. So it is being misused and being mismanaged. And why would you send donation money to an individual in your office? Why wouldn't you send it direct to an account of that particular organization that you have decided to donate to? If in case Parliament is sponsoring up students to go to school, why don't you just channel the money direct? Why does it have to go through me? But then even the donations by the head of state, you see, promises. Why would the head of state be making donations on building hospitals, roads? You know, these donations must be restricted, because at the end of the day, a lot of taxpayers' money is being misused because they cannot account. Even there's many times you cannot literally trace, or there is no organ that is permitted by the law to go and ask for accountability on a donation. I do not think the Auditor General can go and question the President on a donation he made in probably Chenjojo. It's a donation. That is why it's called a donation. So as a country, we need to revise on the powers given to the President. We need to, as a Parliament, we need to check on the votes given to State House that are being mismanaged, and those we have been doing as the alternative government. I managed to be previously the Shadow Minister for Presidency and Security, and one of the dockets I was giving alternatives to were the Presidential Office, including State House, ISO, and all those votes that carry the President. And so many donations that were promised by him are not even fulfilled. They came up and they're not being fulfilled. And those that he donated to, you cannot trace. They donated for a factory in probably in some district, and you cannot trace it. It's nowhere to be seen. They are scams. So we just need to reorganize, realign on what donations should be, and we need to limit on how much they should be. How much should one receive for a donation? So as a country, like I told you, we need to sit down and revise on the powers of all these institutions that manage the country, especially the executive. The speakers donating to most of these institutions, like she claims that we think it's totally, she's not being honest. I do not think they did donate to all those hospitals that are coming up today that they donated. In normal cases, once one makes a donation, we know the politics around Kampala. Even when you're donating just a bed, even when you're donating to a hospital, people would want to get accountability of pictures and videos so that out there people can know you're genuine. That's what we do. Normally, even me as a person, if I'm donating anywhere, many times, a few times we donate and we don't show the world. But most times we donate because we want the world to appreciate why we are donating, or we want others to join the cause of why should we have a society that feels part of finding them okay to aid or come out to help others.
Lastly on that point, Honorable, before I move on to pay lawyer, have you made budgetary allocations to the Office of the Leader of Opposition purposefully for donations?
Oh yes, like I told you, this is information for the commission. And literally all offices have a budget. And previously I cannot account for the office of the former leader of opposition. It has to be him to come and say, I was given such billions and I've spent it in this way. I went for a church fundraising and literally I gave them 5 million, though it is very wrong for the politics of our country. You see, I cannot turn up for a service, or I've come to a service in church, or I've gone to a mosque, and first thing, because you've seen a member of parliament, oh, Honorable, you must be having a huge budget for donation. You see, we are building. I need to come up and give in genuinely when I feel I have. So literally, it's spoiling the nature of politics, whereby people have to commit crimes to be in position to have this money to enable them donate. Otherwise, people should be voting because of reason, because of reflection. People should be voting because of someone who could represent them and their views. A very more honest community, but one that is influenced by donations. Trust me, the country is running in the wrong direction. Even when I'm part of the people that donate, you know, you need to be honest. At times you go to a village group, and Honorable, you know, we need plates, but you're going to donate to them.
Donate as a matter of virtue.
But that is not what I would want the country to be doing. But different from all these others, I donate from what is made to be mine. I'm donating from my pockets. I'm not donating from the national taxpayer's pocket.
P lawyer.
Yes.
Let us understand the concept of donations with respect to the national budget. Is it some sort of duplicity, because you realize from some of the issues that have emerged from the parliamentary exhibition, you realize that the office of the speaker specifically has allocations for activities that would, in a normal understanding of things maybe, be the purview of some other budgetary allocation, let's say to health, like Honorable Nyeko here has pointed out. We've also seen another disturbing concept in the corporate social responsibility of Parliament, which has made people question whether Parliament is now also some sort of private commercial enterprise. Is it a business? So what do you make of this whole concept of donations? Should we rethink that aspect of the budget, or should we continue with it? Is it an extension of patronage?
I think the question extends even wider to the lawmakers themselves, what they represent, the people that they represent, and the pressure that probably comes to them that now brings about these donations that probably we are calling them unnecessary. In the docket of the speaker, let's say we have a lawmaker here, probably it would expound more, that there are a lot of, there are probably people that will approach him, the people that are supposed to make things right, the MPs, the members of parliament, who are supposed to make things right, that sometimes are caught in what I would say, in the trap. I would call it a trap. You have a lot of pressure. You have people that you're representing probably in your constituency. There are money, or the budget is allocated for a specific sector. Let's say it's the health sector. The question goes to people who are probably, let's say, the ministry. Do they do the necessary? Do they do the necessary to ensure that that the health sector is catered for, to the point that it reaches that one man deep down in the rural area? Because then if they are not going to be, if there is not going to be that connection, then a pressure is put on a member of parliament or these lawmakers. You want to persuade your people, your voters. And so it brings the question of, where do I now get where do I now get to get the safety from? So I get to approach this one personality who is going to help cover for me the gap that probably was initially the role of an institution that has been put. So it's a question of each sector, or the money that is being collected by from the taxpayers. It's a question of it being allocated rightfully, and the people in these very sectors doing the rightful thing. For example, like I said, 70% of these people that are in the rural areas, or even in the urban areas, I would say, because this doesn't only happen in the hub countries. It even happens because the question of health is a general question. The question of education is a general question. The question of infrastructures like road. You know, there are money that are supposed to be allocated to such. The money that are initially we were looking at the issue of education, where the tuition, school fees hikes, and it is what is more important. And if this is if the laws are in place and money, let's say that there is money in the budget, or allocations of such money in the budget that are channeled into that, who are the institutions there, and then who are the individuals? What is your role? Can you play your role right? Maybe the honorable would like maybe throw more light, but to me, I feel if money is supposed to be allocated to a particular sector, I don't need to go any further probably to be given money by let's say maybe the president or even the speaker. I don't need to approach your office. Why am I approaching your office? I am a lawmaker. I have gone there to do as I'm supposed to represent my people and stand on values and principles. Why should I go ahead if people in my constituency are not crying? So sometimes I think it is a question of the individuals within the system not mishandling the resources that the taxpayers' money that brings a lot of pressure, and such happens. So maybe Honorable could help throw more light, but to me, I think it's a question of the principles set in doing the right things, right, and honoring the values of leadership. Yeah.
Apollo.
Yes, please.
As a citizen and also a reporter that covers Parliament, do you think this idea of donations as a component of the national budget should really go on? Because evidence that is emerging from the exhibition on Parliament is indicating a culture of wanton abuse. There is no any form of accountability for those monies, but also they are susceptible to arbitrary abuse by the office bearers whose those allocations are made. What's your view of this?
I want to state it clearly, from my understanding, that donations, in our case, the case of Uganda, is as a result of inefficiencies in the system. Like my fellow panelists stated, if you have an efficient health system, why the hell would you really need someone to come and donate to a health center or a hospital? If you have an efficient parliament that allocates funds appropriately, without discrimination, to all regions and all peoples of this country, why would they then need a donation? I think donations are the oil that greases the patronage system, political patronage system we have in our country. It is through donations that political leaders can create impact on the ground and possibly be elected when the next course of election comes up. It is through these donations that they would want to influence and bring people to their side. Even the colleague here, the honorable member of parliament, he knows it. That at this point where we are now, if he does not donate to parents at the time when they are taking back children to school, possibly he will not be elected in the next for the next term of office. If he doesn't buy coffins when a voter dies, possibly he will. So I think it takes us back to what I said in the beginning. It's something we need to tackle from the base. Why would we have a whole budget for State House, for donations, for the president to go around and give money and give cash?
The president justifies it as
cash.
As a response to the practical needs of the people on the ground.
Oh yes, I would think the principle behind creation of that budget component in the beginning was that the systems like local government had not taken root in every corner of this country so that they can effectively take services to the people, and then possibly the head of state would have a response, intervene, and as an intervention for the voters who may be marginalized. But at this time, when we have a government that has been in power for more than 38 years, we have a constitution that has been in place. We have a local government system that has been here since 1997, which is charged with implementing the policies at local level. I don't think we still need politicians or other people to go around dishing out money in the form of donations. We should have systems work. Let Parliament allocate for the health sector, allocate for security, defense sector, allocate for education sector, and then the services flow through the systems that have been put in place to dispense services to the people. So I again think and have the conviction that donations are the oil that greases the patronage system in this country, and the sooner we address this issue, the better. Because now that it was the president at first who has a budget for donations, we have seen that other big people in heading some institutions also want to exercise that power to look for ways of getting a pseudo budget for donations. They will do whatever they can in their means to have that money, so that when they attend functions or what, then they have money to do what? To dish out and under the pretext of helping the people. But the people, that is not what they want. People would want to see, because if you donate today and tomorrow, what happens tomorrow? We should have a system that would guarantee continuous service delivery, effective service delivery. We know that every year, every financial year, we have a budget cycle. Parliament has to allocate to the departments, agencies, and ministries that run government.
Which we do.
Which you do, yes. But then what happens? What happens? And again, Honorable Nyeko raised another pertinent issue. Let's also look at people who are donating. Where do you get these funds for donations? If you do they have budgets for these donations? And what are you donating? If you're a member of parliament and you're donating from your salary, it's okay. That is between you and your heart. You've decided to donate from your own salary. But if we start allowing a system where people can dip their hands into the consolidated fund in taxpayers, from taxpayers' money, and they donate, then how will you now control and avoid patronage, political patronage? Because money is a selfish animal. He or she would want to benefit from any other undertaking. That means that politicians who look at the next election will look for all the means to influence the voters so that they come back. And one way of doing that, in our case, is through donations. So I think it is time we have now to go back and look at, can we, now that we have put systems in place that dispense services, can we now remove that provision that allocates money for a president to donate? Can we now tame the appetite now in the members of parliament to go to their voters and donate? Can we overturn this trend of commercialized politics, where even now the people have reached the extent of appreciating bribes, appreciating donations in quotes during elections, so that they can vote for their leaders. So it is high time we go back to the drawing board. Otherwise, our country is running down.
You wanted to say something?
Maybe
in brief?
not to discredit what he has said, but to disagree a bit. Don't you think giving the mandate to the members of parliament to be in charge of the donations is decentralizing patronage? Because then even there they have people that fall in the docket, so they're not going to be in position to do the right things the right way, because then it is channeled. I mean, I want job employment from you. I want tuition from you. I want a lot of things from you, the member of parliament. So giving the mandate, shifting it to the members of parliament, I would want to think that it's decentralizing the patronage. I think the right thing is that the institutions, for example, in the local, we realize the challenge at the local government level, that the chairman, the LC5, that has a docket, that has a number of population that is within, that he understands, that is rooted at the grassroots, is paid probably only 2 million. This is someone who has to bury every member that dies in his locality. He has to plan to come back to to serve his people, but he has only 2 million as his salary. You get what I'm saying? So he's going to look at what are those allocations that are channeled through his dockets. How can I tap from probably money that has been allocated to the youth budget? How do I tap on this? And so that it informs him on whom to even appoint on the position. So I think it is sort of the right thing has to be put in right. Let us work on the systems within and empower them. If it is the health sector, let us improve the health sector. If it is the education, but also let us have individuals based on merit. Because if I'm going to award you because you're my colleague, we have been in the struggle, then I'm only inclining you to do things according to how you wish, and I can't even pull you from there, because then you're accountable, I'm accountable to you. Yeah, that's all I wanted to add.
My view is that you are in agreement,
Yeah,
actually.
true.
Totally.
Yeah.
You wanted to
Yeah, it is
respond in
true.
a minute.
Yeah, maybe what I didn't talk about is honesty. Our leaders have not been very honest to us, because when people raise concerns about these issues, why can't you come out and give an explanation? Why can't we be honest to ourselves and our people? And in all these donations we are talking about, what is the honesty?
Perhaps they think the issues do not warrant or
That is the
justify an
problem.
explanation.
That is the problem. If people say, well, why are you giving somebody a service reward For what? Come clear about it. Come clear with an explanation that can convince these people. But the mentality of wanting to keep it to yourself and dismiss the concerns of the people, I don't think it is right.
Honorable, yes. Moving on, in terms of a long-term solution to this problem, even as you deliver your closing remarks on the program, what do you think should be definitively done to address, number one, the now, burgeoning challenge of political patronage? Secondly, and interrelated to that, is now the concept of donations in the budget, which are susceptible to a lot of abuse and misuse, which in the end is portending serious detriment to the taxpayer.
Well, if we are to pick a leaf from countries like Kenya, how they're operating, whereby we see they have constituency funds and literally not being managed by the member of parliament, but having a full committee that runs that fund to help out in incidences whereby, in case the speaker comes for a particular region and then he or she would donate money specifically in that region. A president is frequent on visiting one region or a certain hospital, and that is where he thinks they are of need, and he may not be in position to know what is happening in the central, in the west, in the east, and in the north. The best solution could be having, if we are to break down to the lower levels, making sure that we allocate enough funds for the local government to be in position to provide service delivering to the people in that particular constituency or that particular cell or zone, but as well to have it equally distributed. What it helps out in Kenya is that a member of parliament would not go directly and order a certain committee of allocate this money to such and such a school. No, they would sit down as a committee and decide on the need in that particular area. On, is it about education? Is it about security? Is it about agriculture? Then, and it's an equally distributed fund all over. So, but as well, one player in this whole game has been here for more than 40 years, and is the one benefiting in these donation scams that are going around, whereby you find a particular group of people think it is very fine for you to donate to where you can get. You can only donate to where you can get, enslaving the common person, enslaving the whole community, or the whole Uganda to where the donation, the one who has power to donate. So literally, you're not aiding them up in terms of the institutions that can deliver services to them, but you're aiding them up to who has the money, and which is limiting the space for the likes of my dear sister. If you are to join politics today as a young person, how much do you think you would donate? And like I told you, I truly disagree with donating to the community. I have a community ambulance, but I do not have enough money to run even just a mere one community ambulance, because it will take several people to the hospital. But I find it should be a social responsibility. Like I told you, if it's coming from my wallet, it could be somehow fine. But as well, I know it interferes with the decision making in the constituency, which is wrong. I would want people to vote me for reason, for what I stand for what I advocate for them, for what they see me, I reflect into them. That is what I would think would be fine. But like I told you, I'm one of those people that think Uganda as a country, we need to have a very honest conversation and literally sit down and uproot all these wrong persons whatever positions they are. My sister was saying it's not about the institutions. The institutions are now deeply connected with corruption, that even when you change one particular individual, you may not be in position to fight the inner corruption. You may not be, you will find out that as parliament, we have seen agencies come in and people are honest. Some of these individuals, the civil servants, are very honest men. But because the people around them in one way or another, you'll find they will have space of where they can steal from, where they can get money from. And I strongly believe the donation vote should be kicked off, especially for people who are in position, because we are supposed to make sure that people get these services. We have a huge budget. It is upon us to allocate. It is upon government, the executive, to make sure that there are better schools, better hospitals, there's better infrastructure to enable everyone earn a living, and also have the right policies to enable literally capture and everyone feel free to breathe in an economy where they can be in position to earn a living, to be in position to cater for what they want. Well, and I strongly believe, as I finish up, that whoever is watching or viewing this show, they should not limit this to strictly politicians and leaders in offices. I want to tell you, these guys are very dishonest. Like I told you, they can make a honest man become a dictator because you would not be secure with what you're giving them. The political class in Uganda, because of somebody who has been in power for 40 years, they all think he's their godfather. They trend by what he has lived as an example. So trust me, we need to have more honest people in parliament, more people of reason, more people who are of integrity in all these places, not only parliament, even these other institutions, UNRWA, the executive. But we need to tame the powers of the president. But then we need to respect the rule of law. We need to respect the laws that govern us if we are to see a country that would develop at a very fast rate. And this is open for literally every Ugandan. That's why we salute all those guys on Twitter that are coming out to exhibit almost everything, parliament, the roads, you know.
Have they exhibited you personally?
Please, for me, actually, I feel it very okay if somebody criticizes me. I feel it very fine because literally, if you find that I'm not doing enough, be open to me and tell me. As long as you're not building up chemicals to make sure that you tarnish the image of Nyeko. But if it's about my office, it's constructive, it is very
in
okay.
line with your mandate.
And I find it very fine, in line with my mandate. I find it very fine. I do not have hate for such people. I only encourage them because it's the only way we can keep our leaders in check. It is the only way we can keep our institutions in check because the space has been narrowed. People cannot literally be allowed to go to streets to demonstrate. Gone are the days when you would see young men and ladies who have who disagree on a particular thing, and you know they hit the streets. Today they can literally use their social handles to come out and air what's on their hearts. So I totally want to appreciate them all who are in these exhibitions. Please dig more. Even when it requires you to dig the Nyeko, dig more Nyeko, as long as it is constructive, like you said.
Are you volunteering information?
Oh yeah,
Always withholding.
Me as a person, and that is why we are asking for accountability from the office of the speaker. That is because these are public offices. That is why we are asking for accountability from the commission. That is why we go ahead and call these entities of government, you know, to give accountability. Me as a person, I would give accountability on anything that they would find that it's in my docket of office that I've mishandled, probably. But if somebody is going to come up and allege, hello, Honorable Nyeko, you're young, you're handsome, so you should not marry, you should not what? I would not take that kind of criticism because, hello, people have a life even away from this. I was telling you there are principles. I move on, and literally, I'm only here to serve. So I'm only here to serve, as well have a personal life.
Thank you, Honorable, for your views. Yes, I want to call you by your English name, Barbara. I know you protest vigorously, but yes, your closing remarks on the show.
Thank you so much, our dear hosts, and to the viewers that have been watching this show. I am so privileged that today I've equally learned a lot from each other, from the Honorable and the journalist here, but of course, um, we continue to learn from each other. But the one final thing that I would want to urge us as we watch this is that let us stop the blame. We can end this. We can put an end to this. It is me, it is you, and it is your neighbor. The criticism should be constructive, just as the Honorable has said. And let us have agenda that will help us push forward and deliver in the course of criticizing. Because then we need to have an upright country that maybe probably is not susceptible to the patronage system or the donations. If there are donations that are going to be coming in, can it flow to institutions? And if these institutions are being set, can we have the rightful people take up these institutions? Because then that is the beginning of the problem. So it starts with me and it starts with you, but we can put an end to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Mr. Apollo, your closing remarks on the program.
Yes, I want to appreciate our viewers and the platform you've given us. But I also want to appeal to our leaders to be honest and to be sensitive to the concerns of the people they lead, who they lead. I would sum up all what we have talked about, including a patronage system and the concern around donations to greed. We have become greedy, and greedy, we always, we are becoming greedier every day. People who are in offices of responsibility are now, have reached a level now where they think if they don't manipulate the system, they cannot survive in those offices. That is why the issue of donations is coming up now. It is because they understand that if they do not have money to go and spend and bribe their way into offices, they will not survive politically. Yet, in other countries, other countries that have moved ahead of us, we see that leaders come and go. Leaders know that they will serve their time and move on. But because we want to hold on to these offices, even some of these offices are very small, but we want to hold and keep hanging on those offices. That greed now is pushing us to another level. And now we even want to use the money, the taxpayers' money, to bribe them. It is unfortunate that now you want to use the taxpayers' money to bribe that same taxpayer. So I call for honesty. I also call for leaders to develop a tough skin. Like Honorable Nyeko said, if there is any form of criticism directed towards you, look at how you can counter it with the appropriate information or appropriate response, but not coming out with a hammer to kill a fly just because you feel you have been tickled. I thank you so much for this opportunity, and I thank the panelists here, the management of Civic Space TV. God bless Uganda.
I want to...
Before you close up,
Yes.
We are doing something about it. The question is, what are you doing? What are you doing about it?
Yes,
are you doing anything about it? I'm like, we are doing something about it. And that is why probably we are in the opposition. We are opposing it. We are opposing the current that in the system. The question is, the people out there, what are they doing about the current affairs, how their country is being run? what are they doing about it? We are doing something, and you are criticizing those that are on the way doing something about it.
That's a
Join
challenge.
up.
That's a challenge to them. But I want to appreciate you, Honorable Nyeko, P. Lawyer, Barbara, and Mr. Apollo here to see me for your able participation on the program on very key issues pertaining to the governance of our country. Viewers, we appreciate you for keeping us company from the start of this program up to its conclusion. This is the Focus on Parliament show on Civic Space TV. Engage us on our various social media platforms. We are on X, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube. You subscribe to our channel, and many thanks to the production unit for keeping us on air. See you next time.